as following 6 components. First component is Oracle Workflow Builder, and second one is Workflow Definition Loader, and third one is Directory Services, fourth one is Workflow Engine, and fifth one is Notification Systems, and sixth one is Workflow Monitor. Among which first three we as a developer we will use, and this particular sixth one component we will be using for viewing the status of your workflow, similar to this screen, where exactly your workflow is, the activity where your workflow is stuck. Everything we can see in this particular workflow monitor, and these two will be provided by the Oracle, and these two will be configured by the sysadmin, and these two are out of scope from this particular course. Now we will discuss about the Workflow Builder. Workflow Builder is a tool which we use for developing the workflow. Similar to your for reports development, we use RDF. For report builder we use, right? So in a similar way, we use Workflow Builder to develop a workflow. Like when you develop a report, the report extension is .rdf. Similar to that, when you develop a workflow in the Workflow Builder, when you save it, that extension will be a .wft. And the versions available are 2.5 and higher, and 2.6 and higher. And current running version is 2.6 and higher. And in our session, we will use 2.6.3.5. And we are having advantage using this particular version is, if you develop a workflow in this particular version, it is compatible for 11i as well as R12. You can deploy your workflow in 11i. Same workflow you can use in your R12 also. In both the instance, your workflow is going to work. That is the advantage of this version. When you open your Workflow Builder, it looks similar to like this, and on the top left side you can see the Workflow Builder version. Now we will discuss about the components of the Workflow Builder. Here these are the Oracle Workflow components, entire Oracle Workflow components, and the first component is Oracle Workflow Builder. And Oracle Workflow Builder have components. Those components we are discussing. Don't confuse. Here these are the components of the Workflow Builder. We are having totally 8 components, major components, and in this course we will use all these components and with different examples. And first component here is item type, second is item attribute, third one is process, fourth one is notification, fifth one is function, and sixth one is events, and seventh one is messages, and eighth one is lookup type and lookup code. Let us discuss about the item type. First component, item type is nothing but it is identifier of the workflow which is developed for a business process. It is similar to your concurrent program only. When you create a concurrent program, what we will do, we will give the short name and program name and description, right? So when you call this concurrent program from the backend or by the Oracle application, when it is calls, it won't use the concurrent program name. It will use a short name because it is unique across your application or database. So similar to that, your concurrent program is identified by the short name only. When you use XML template also, that is going to be recognized by using the short name only. The short name is same as your data definition short code. Similar to that, item type is an identifier of a workflow which is stored in your database, and we will be using that item type name only across your application, or whenever you call the workflow, we will use that only. And we are having 3 thumb rules in order to create an item type. The internal name or item type name should be less than or equal to 8 characters. It must have 8 characters or less than 8 characters. Let us show you one example here, which is developed. Here, this is a workflow which I have developed for explaining. So if you see here, this is item type. If you want to develop a new one, just go to this one here, XX item type demo. See here, when you go for exceeding the 8 characters also, it won't allow you. So maximum characters are going to be 8 characters. And second thumb rule is we should not use small letters. Here in the item type, we should not use small letters. If you give small letters also, it won't allow you. It will convert it automatically into your capital letters. And third one is, this is very, very important because this is called bind symbol, like your RDF reports. Do not include any colons and leading spaces in your internal name. Here, while creating the item type, Here this is the column which is similar to your concurrent program short name. This is similar to your concurrent program name. This is similar to your concurrent program description. So here this has to have 8 characters, alphanumeric you can have, and they should not have any columns, and they should not having any spaces. This is a thumb rule which you need to follow across your development. Next, second component is item attribute. This is very, very important. Most of the people won't cover this topic. Just simple things they will be covering, and the rest of the things they will leave it. But most of the times we use item attributes in different cases. We will discuss in detail about this one. Before that, we'll discuss here introduction to the item attribute, purpose of the item attribute. In your PL SQL programming, if you take this anonymous block, what we have here, this is a variable name and data type, variable name, data type, variable name, data type, variable name, data type. Here, what is the data type here? Number. Here, varchar, a date, a club, a blob. These are the it is similar to your varchar only, but it can store up to 4 GB data. Here, these are called global variables for this particular anonymous block. Similarly, if you want to use a variable within your workflow, this is my workflow, this is my item type. I want to use a variable across this particular workflow. Then I will be going for attributes. Attribute is nothing but it is a global variable which can be accessed within your item type. Here, within your item type, what is your item type here? This is item type. Within this item type, if you declare a variable here, that variable can be accessed, can be used. We can assign the data, we can assign the variable values, anything you can do it. Let us see. And when you create here on the attributes, when you create here, internal name is, I'm using like this, XX demo attribute, XX demo attribute. Here, the type we can define it as a text. Text means it is similar to your char. The character can be used. So this particular variable in the workflow can store what? Alphanumeric characters. What is the length of this particular variable? Here, when you define your variable, we'll be using here size of the variable, right? So similar to that, we can use here the size of the, we can restrict like that also. We can define your size of your variable. So I want to define here 50,000. Let us see whether it will accept or not. No, because the maximum size we can use is 4,000. So here the size must be how much? For a text means varchar 4,000 max. If you don't use it, it will automatically take 4,000. If you want to restrict to 60 characters, yes, we have to mention here length of your. It is similar to your varchar2 of 60 characters. If you don't mention here, it will be taking as varchar2 of 4,000 characters. And if you want to use here default value, see how it will work, like similar to this. What is the default value to this particular name? Is Ravi. Similar to that, if I want to use any data, any initial value, yes, I can assign here initial value. Exactly, it is a replication of your data PL SQL data types, but the usage is very different, and this is having many advantages. So similarly, if you want to define a number, yes. If you want to define a data type, data type, yes. If you want to define a club or blob data type, yes. But other than these 4, we are having lookup, we are having form, URL, role, attribute, and event. All these things we will discuss a later point. But for now, remember, this attribute is nothing but a global variable which can be accessed under a item type or across item type. And in order to assign, how we are assigning here values here for this particular L name, I want to assign a value in this particular program. How I will be using assigning operator, right? So here some John. I want to use name here John. I want to assign like this. But for this attribute, if I want to assign a value, we can't assign directly by using assignment operator. We have to use some of the APIs provided by the Oracle. If the attribute type is text, if attribute type is text, then I have to use API called wf_engine.setItem attr text. I have to use in order to set the value or initialize the value. If the attribute is of number, what should I use here? If attribute is number, the attribute is number data type, then here what should I use? wf_engine.setItem attr number I have to use. If it is a date I have to use. Similarly, if I want to get the value from the attribute also, we have to use a particular API, that is get item attr text. If the variable attribute is type of text, then we have to use get text. If it is a attribute type is number, get number, similar to your this one only. For date also, get date. We will discuss about all these APIs very in brief with different examples so that you will never confuse and everything will be explained crystal clearly. And the next component of the workflow builder is process. This is the point, this is the location where we connect all components. These all components which we are defining will be accessed in the process, will be connected in a such a way to achieve the business logic. It is exactly same as your begin and end in your PL SQL. Whatever the logic you write in between these two, that will be executed. The variables you in the declaration block you will be defining, right? These all things can be accessed in the begin end. In the exactly same way, the process will work. In the process itself, you can define anything between a start and end. In your anonymous block, what is the starting point, begin and end? It is a mandatory block. Similar to that, process is also a mandatory block where your all components will be executed in a sequence from begin to end. In the place of begin, we will be using here one function called start. In the place of end, we will be using a function called end. So whatever the components you see, those components has to be used between a start and end only, similar to your PL SQL begin and block. That is a thumb rule you need to use. But only difference between the PL SQL begin and block and this particular process start and end is start will be one only, but end you can have any number. Why? Because we are going to change the direction of your workflow. The transition is going to be changed. Once the transition is going to be changed, it has to end somewhere, right? It will go and at a time one start, one end will be executed. If you observe here, the starting point is this and it will go to end here. If it is transited to the transition is through the reject. If the transition through the exit, going to the through loop and exit, then it will go to this end. But at a time, if you observe, at a single start and single end will be executed. Multiple ends will not be executed. Of course, if you have a sub process, then the case is different. So similar, remember this point. Process is a location where all components will be connected together as per the business requirement. And next one is message and notification activity. Guys, very clear, you should be very clear here. Notification activity, notification means you can see here notification. This is a notification point. This is a notification. If I want to send a message, I have to create a message first. This is a thumb rule you need to remember. Notification and message like twins. They can't work in a standalone. If you want to work with a message, it has to be associated with any notification. If the notification has to work, it has to associate with a message. Otherwise, it will not work. So for that reason, a message has to be created first. Then this message has to be attached to your notification. Why? Because notification will not create any messages. The responsibility of the notification system is, it will send a message which is attached to it. That is the responsibility of notification activity. If you see, this is one of the component. Notification system, what it will do, it will sense that's it. It will send the message attached to it. That is the responsibility. It won't create any messages. Remember that point. So according to this point, first what we need to do, first we need to create a message with anything, and that has to attach it to this particular notification. And after creating notification, where we need to place this one, as I said, the process, the location where we will connect all the components. Process is the location where all components will be connected, right? So we will see some example here. We'll create everything in the next video session, but now I'm telling what is the purpose of each and every component, workflow builder component. So if you take this one, this is a notification. This is attached to which message? Leave message. See here. You just go to messages, leave message. This is attached to this particular. So first what I need to do, a message has to be created with internal name, display name, description, and body has to be created. Which data you want to send. I have created it here, that what you call a text HTML body. We'll discuss HTML tags also, how we can create. And this particular message will go to your person to whom you want to send. So like this. So we'll discuss about it. But remember, the message has to associated with a notification. Otherwise it won't work. Notification system is having a responsibility to send a message or notification to a given person. That's it. And how, which message, whatever the message attached to this particular one. So see, let us see. I have attached already. We'll discuss about it in the later session, but remember this point. So thumb rule. What is the thumb rule? First rule one is every notification must be associated with the performer. Unless you mention two address in your mail program in a Gmail, it will never send a message, right? It will never send a mail. It will ask for prompt. The two mail is mandatory. Similar to that, here you are saying that hello, you have to send a message, this leave message. That's it. But to whom you want to send, that has to be mentioned in the node tab. Here the performer has to be mentioned. Otherwise, it won't allow you to send. It will throw an error. Just check it out here. Just I'm removing this one. Validate it. It is validating. Okay. It should not allow us, but it will throw an error while creating. Let us see. I would like to save into the database. See here, it is throwing invalid performer. So this particular notification has to associate with a particular performer. Otherwise, it will throw error. Here, validation is nothing but compilation. Compilation errors we will never have. When we saving into the database, it will check whether it has the notification is associated with a performer or not. Now it will allow us. Check it out. Apps. See, it is successfully saved. So what is the first thumb rule? A notification, when it is created, it must be associated with your performer. When a notification is created, it must be associated with a message. A message has to be attached, performer has to be attached. Remember these points, thumb rules. And these are the three important websites where you can find the XML tags and XML tags explanations and colors if you want. Here, if you see in this notification, what is the color you're having? Light gray, right? If I want to have a red color, yes. I'm a PL SQL developer. I'm not I'm not aware of HTML. So with this help of these websites, we can develop any kind of XML tag in an easy way. We'll discuss it very clearly. I'll develop in front of you. And the next component of the workflow builder is notification is completed and message is completed. Next component is function. Function is nothing but it is an activity where we can call a PL SQL stored procedure. Similar to your concurrent program, a function can be called. How can be called? A procedure can be called in the begin anonymous block. We can call, and in your Oracle EBS by creating the executable as SQL stored PL SQL stored procedure. Right. In the similar way, if I want to execute a function through the workflow, yes, we have to use a function activity. Similar to this one. This is a function. So how can I create? Means just go to functions, new function. Function name is similar to your short code of your concurrent program, new func or new proc, or test procedure. You can give any name and test procedure. Yes, and in the executable you will mention, right, executable name. Similar to that, you need to mention your executable name itself. XX func, a procedure created in the database that will be used. For example, if you use a test procedure, here a wrong procedure you have used. Let us see whether it will accepts or not. When you save into the database, it won't accept. Because it will check for whether the function is exists or not. Okay, it is accepting, but while executing it, it will throw an error in your application if it is not showing here. But we should check that we should have a function or procedure in the application. Otherwise, it will throw runtime error. Okay, if it is not showing here, then we have to use. We will be seeing that error in your application level. This is about a function activity. Next, event activity. This is a very important topic where the people will not cover much about it. We will discuss this topic very clearly with different examples with execution also. An event is nothing but it is a database trigger. Whenever there is a change in database data, whenever there is a change in data in the database, we can file this particular event. You want to perform something. If there is a item change, item description got changed, or item expense account has been changed, I want to notify that particular information to a particular person. Then how just I should know that there is a change in the database item expense account. So that is possible through the PL SQL by using triggers only. Similar to that, here we are going to have an event. Event is a replication of your trigger, and Oracle have provided some triggers, some events. We will discuss about it very clearly, and we need to create subscription for that. We will discuss it very clearly. Event is nothing but it is a database trigger. We can receive and raise, and we can send. All these three will be covered in this particular course. And the last one, last but not least, lookup type and lookup code. This is a section where we see lookup type and lookup code. This has many functions. Lookup type is nothing but lookup type has one or more values called lookup codes associated with it. If you remember or not, in your Oracle application, we are having lookups, a concept called lookups, where we will be having lookup type under which we will be having some values, lookup values. FND lookup values is a table which stores the lookup values, right? So similar to that, here we are going to have a lookup type under which we will associate, and to that associated lookup type we will be having some values. So why we are using these things? Let us see here. This is a lookup type. We are going to use here approve, and approve is a lookup type under which we are having three lookup codes. One is accept, reject, cancel, reject. The main purpose of the lookup types is in order to provide buttons to the performer, the person who got the notification. We use lookup types. See here, this particular approve one is associated with this particular notification in the result type. When you run this particular workflow, you will get these three buttons, exactly same as your three lookup codes. You will get three buttons: accept, cancel, reject. These three buttons will be provided to the approver, the person who got the notification. He is able to accept it, he is able to cancel it, he is able to reject it. And Oracle provides by default reassign and request information. So these three are we have created, right? So the first purpose of your lookup types is in order to provide the buttons to the approver or the person who got the notification. The second purpose of your lookup code is when this is created, if I want to change the direction of your notification, we use lookup types. See here, this lookup type is associated with this notification, right? This approve one is associated with this notification one. Then if the person who got this notification accepts, this workflow will go in this direction. If the person who got notification, if he cancels, it will go in this direction. If I want to change the direction of the workflow or transition of the workflow, we use lookup types. Here we can perform any task also. In this way, we can perform any task. In this way, we can add more functions also. To change the direction of the notification or activity, we use lookup codes. This is a second purpose. And third purpose is in the notification, I want to provide to this particular performer a list of values. Yes, we can use list of values. See here, I have created one more lookup. What is a lookup? Leave type. Leave type has how many values we are having? Casual leave, on demand, on duty, and other. So these three values I want to provide to a performer or person who got notification. Yes, that is possible through your lookup codes only. So three purpose, very important: to provide the buttons, to change the transition of your workflow direction, and to provide the list of values to the performer or the person who got notification. This is very, very important for us. And when you create a lookup type, it must be associated. It must be associated to the notification as well as your message. And when you create a lookup code, it can be associated to the attribute to provide a list of values. See, if you see here, when we have discussed attributes, we have, this is a text type, right? If you want to use here lookup, yes, we can use here lookup. What is the lookup type? Leave type, right? Leave. So when you create like this, the values has to be assigned like this. For the attribute type must be lookup, and the leave type, lookup type is leave type, which we have created here. So we have to attach that particular lookup type to the attribute like this, or we have to associate this particular lookup type to a notification. This is a notification where you see the result type approve one. When you associate note to the notification, it is mandatory to associate with the message also. In the result tab, you can see approve one. In the lookup type, in the result tab, you have to mention, otherwise it will throw error. These are the 2 points which I have mentioned here. This is about the components of workflow. In the next session, we will discuss these components with example. We will discuss in the next section. Thanks for watching, and please watch further videos. Hi guys, in this video session, we will discuss about prerequisites to develop XXAP invoice custom hold release workflow. In this course, we will develop 3 workflow, but first workflow is split into 10 examples to understand various components of the workflow. In the last video, we have discussed the components of the workflow builder. These are the 8 components of the workflow builder. So first we need to understand all these 8 components so that you can develop any type of workflow. So this is the real example which I'm going to cover, and is split into 10 examples. At the time, in example 10, we will go to we will see how to migrate this particular workflow to the production, and we will develop a MD70 and MD120. Of course, for 3 workflows which we develop in this course, we'll have these 3. But this particular example 1 is split into 10 examples for understanding the various components. So the prerequisites for this developing workflow, before that, I would like to tell you what is the example 1 we are going to develop. So first, I would like to send the information to the supervisor with the AP invoice holds. Means a invoice XX invoice is created by person 1, and this person 1 will have a supervisor. That person 1 will have a supervisor. To that supervisor, I want to send the whole information. That is my requirement in this particular workflow, example 1. So for that, I need to know what are the whole need to be sent. I need to know who is created the invoice, and I need to know who is the supervisor of the created by. And in this example, we will cover, these are the topics we are going to cover. So first, what is the topic? Messages, notification, attributes with only number type and text type and date type with the send only option. And later sessions, example 5 or 6, we'll see respond also. And running the workflow from the front end, running the workflow from back end, running and sending this particular workflow into the database by using upload or download by using workflow definition loader. With only first option is workflow standard program, that is by running workflow definition loader concurrent program, we will upload and we will download the workflow as and when required. Now let us see what is a prerequisite. We need to create a new hold, custom hold, and see what are the base tables affected. And I will take one invoice, and on this invoice I will apply new created custom hold and see whether it is impacted backend or not. And after that, I would like to decide who is the supervisor for the invoice created by this particular, for invoice created. Let us see first how to create. First step is how to create invoice hold. Just go to payable responsibility, payable vision of operations, then go to setup, invoice, and hold release names. Go to payable responsibility, setup, invoice, hold, and release names. This is the navigation which we follow. And from now onwards, I will use my company short code as XXMRA is my short code of your company. This is not exist, but throughout my analysis, I will use this particular short code only. So here, the XXMRA is my short code of the company, and invoice, this whole name is MGR hold. Just I would like to name it as MGR hold because I'm sending the information to the manager, and he will decide whom to send for releasing the hold and everything. He has all rights. That's why I'm naming it as MGR hold. And description is MRA manager approval. Type is, you can use any of the type which are there in the LOV. I'm using invoice hold release. So invoice